Here we are. We're live. Sunday night special edition. How's everybody doing tonight? I put a StreamYard link in the pinned to the top of the chat, so if people want to join in. Tonight's topic is how do you deal with conflict? And that's conflict as a man, okay? And we are going to have a special section on how do you deal with conflict with your woman, whether you're in a marriage, you're dating, a relationship. So that's what's going on tonight. So first of all, what is conflict? I think conflict is an argument, a disagreement, maybe different points of view. There's a lot of different things that conflict is. And where do you find conflict? I would say friendships is probably definitely one of them. Family is one of them. Business, whether you're in business like I am or you have a workplace. I'm sure you've run into conflict at your job. So how do you deal with that? Relationships, of course, dating, marriage, there's conflict there. And a real big one nowadays is social media. How do you deal with conflict on social media when somebody calls you out? We know there's a lot of tough guys in there. So anyways, I want to recognize the chat. Primal Man, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Gladiator Vlogs. Vivian, good to see you. John Boston, good to see you. Yeah, we're gonna deal with conflict tonight, and there it is. Anthony Velasquez, respect the wrench. Good to see you, Anthony. But we're gonna talk about conflict and how you guys deal with it. So first, we're gonna talk about dealing with conflict as a man. So let's say you have some issue with a friend of yours, okay? How do you approach them? I think what happens is a lot of times when we think of conflict, somebody will avoid conflict with you, okay? They'll call you negative. They'll say it's drama or you're toxic. But I think as a man, we can deal with conflict. I think it's natural. I think it's normal. I think when you run from conflict, I think that shows weakness. I think there's a time to accept it, embrace it, and deal with it. There's also a time that I think you need to maybe take a step back and figure out if you're right or if you're wrong. So anybody in the chat, what type of conflict would you say you would have with a friendship? So what type of conflict would you have with a friendship? I'm curious what everybody thinks. Cheers, by the way. Different Sunday night, so. Not usual for me to be on a Sunday night. I work. I see. Anthony Velasquez says toxic masculinity. Well, yeah, that word toxic, negativity, drama, those are kind of buzzwords to me. I think they're used way, way too much. So what is Gladiator Vlog says, friends think peanut butter and jelly. So yeah, those are buzzwords. When people call you, I'm getting some text here. So anyways, when people use those words, say, oh, you're negative or you're causing drama, a lot of times I think what they're saying is that you're telling them the truth and they can't handle it. And that seems to be an issue with a lot of people, especially on social media. On social media, people will say whatever they want. I mean, we know that. You know, we have avatars everywhere. So let me look at some of the chats. Vivian says, I tend to be way more upfront than most people of either gender. John Boston says, female nature. John Boston says, who hurt you? That's a great one. Yeah, I use that when I want to irritate somebody. Who hurt you? But so So let's talk about friendships. When I say a friendship is, as a man, usually your friendships with your guy friends. So how do you handle conflict when you have a disagreement, an argument? What do you do? I remember back in the day, I'm a little older, so back in the day, we could slug it out. Now, a lot of times, now these days, it's not something that you would do. You end up going to jail. So I think avoiding physical contact and physical violence at some points is necessary. Obviously, if you're protecting yourself, I think it's okay for sure. But I think initiating that physical confrontation will probably get you thrown in jail. So that's something I think we need to think about as men. Is you're going to throw hands, you might want to go around back of the building and do it where nobody can watch and just have two of you. So it's your word against his. But I think that's the old school way of doing it. What they do back in the day, they would have a duel. They'd slap each other in the face with a glove, and then they'd duel to the death. That was serious. That's serious conflict. So, and then let me look at the chat here. What we got? Primal Man says, pride will destroy. Theories are manifestation of pride. Yeah. John Boston says, people on social media say Joe Biden really won in 3 mass work. That's good. Yeah, Anthony Velasquez, fisticuffs and then brewskis. Yeah, that's old school, buddy. I agree with you. So, what else we got here? Vivian says, right, a dude will call the cops on another dude before risk getting hit in the face. Yeah, that's the truth. I'll tell you a quick little story about conflict and friends. I was at a gas station. I know I was in college because I remember going to college the next couple of days, and I couldn't look in the sun. So I was at a gas station. I was just pumping gas. I had 2 of my friends in the car, and what happened was some guy pulled up in his car and got out of his car, started pumping gas, and I was just standing there minding my own business, and he kept saying, "What are you looking at?" And I ignored him, and I'm like, "I'm not looking at anything." So he came over to me and he cold cocked me. He spun me around and just bloused me, hit me as hard as you could hit me. And, my eye just swelled up shut. Of course, I got up and did exactly what I could. And I hit him so hard, he was out like a light. Now, I had 2 of my friends that were in the car. One got out. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because somebody couldn't handle conflict. He was our biggest friend, okay? My one buddy got out, and the other people's car looked like a clown car. When I say a clown car, that means, can you imagine like just like guys getting out of this car? So there's, I don't know how many, maybe 5 or 6, but they just kept coming out. So ended up being me and my one buddy were just battling these 5 guys as best we could. And we were probably 18 years old, 19 years old. So we're battling probably 4 or 5 guys. Now, our biggest guy, he just sat in the car and he froze. So he could not handle the conflict. This guy was a wrestler. This guy was a supposed badass, but he froze. He couldn't handle conflict. And to be honest, I haven't spoken to him since that day. We have never spoke again. So it just shows you some people can handle it, some people can't. I'm not saying that I'm a badass and all that, but I handled it when I had to. That's the way I grew up. So, but anyways, the point of that story is that some people cannot handle conflict, whether it's physical, whether it's any kind of argument. They're going to say you're negative or you're, like I said, toxic, these buzzwords, or it's drama. And let me tell you something, as a man, you have to deal with conflict. If you can't deal with it, you have to learn to deal with it. Now, I've got a bunch of notes here, obviously, but conflict avoidance, is that possible? I think it is possible. I think there's a time for it. But when you talk with somebody or you're having an argument, I think that certain arguments can be subjective, okay? That's opinions. That's subjective means it's opinions, emotions is what it is. Objective means it's facts, it's rational, it's the truth. So when we have an argument, especially with a friend, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? Do you take into consideration the guy's feelings? And I know everybody talks about feelings. Everybody has feelings. Feelings and emotions sometimes get in the way of rational thinking. And that's reality. That's the way it is. So family is different. I think family is different. I know they say blood is thicker than water. And some people actually say water is thicker than blood. So, but I think that's probably not true. To me, family is important. It's a very important thing. So, but there are issues in family, and that's okay. And you just deal with them and you move on. I don't like to cut anybody out of my life. That's for sure. I don't think that's something that I normally would do. There are people that I'm always open to that I've had conflict with. That's for sure. So, but anyways, anybody wants to join, there's a StreamYard link pinned in the chat at the top of the chat. So if you want to join in, jump on and we'll continue the talk. Now, social media is a tough one, guys. I think that's a real difficult one for a lot of people. Now, I get all sorts of bullshit on this channel, even on like my head shave and beard trimming videos. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know. I've got a few today, and a lot of them I laugh at. I'm not big on blocking people. I'll block trolls. But social media, like if you go to my Facebook, it says fake book. That's my header. It says, this is not your life. I think what a lot of people do is they project this fake, phony lifestyle that they have and they put it on social media. So they have to keep this persona going. You know what I mean? It's just, like I said, Facebook to me is really fake book. You know, that's not your life. And I'm going to say that probably 50, 60% of people's social media is only what they want you to see. It's not reality. It's really not. I know since I started this channel and talk with you guys, I really try to be, I'm me. I'm the same guy. If you meet me in person, I'm the same dude. So I'm the same guy. You know, if you're sitting in my house, I'm going to talk to you exactly like I am right now. I mean, I'm not a public speaker. Yeah, I might stutter a bit or say here and there. One of the things I say is I think. I know I say that a lot. I think I say that a lot. But that just takes some time. So, but negativity to me is a lot of times, again, it's somebody not accepting the truth, and they'll call you negative, or they'll call you toxic, or they'll say you're starting drama. That really irritates me. That really does. I try not to get angry, but I think that anger sometimes can be a really, really good thing. So how do you deal with somebody that says, this is also what happens when you're in a conflict, when somebody that is always right? Has anybody dealt with that? Somebody who is always right? I mean, they're always right. Anybody know anybody like that? Doesn't matter what you say, they are right. Their perspective, their opinions, their whatever is always right. Does anybody in the chat know anyone like that? I'm sure everybody does. Anthony Velasquez says, I know a guy who said water is thicker. So, yeah, Vivian says 90% of social media personalities are faking the funk. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I see you, John Boston. That's for sure. Primal Man says, pride again. Yeah, that's for sure. Also tonight, too, after we talk about dealing with conflict as a man, it's also going to be AMA, which means you can ask me anything about anything. I'm going to be put on the hot seat. That's for sure. So anybody in the chat, not now, because I'm not going to answer anything, but after we're talking about this. And I'd like to see a couple of you guys jump on here and chat with me tonight. Primal Man, you feel like jumping on? Jump on. I've got a little clip here, and this is from Ivan Throne. This was from an interview I did with him. And I want you guys to check this out here. What a better time to be a man, okay? Now, Ivan talks about conflict in this little clip, and I'll play it right now.
What good is a night without a dragon to slay?
Mm-hmm.
So at a time when the entire world is on fire, civilizations are overthrown, values are out the window, everything appears to be in the hands of evil, triumphant. What better time to be a man than to take all of it on in a holy war of sacred purpose? You want challenge? I would say now is probably the best time you could imagine. Really? I mean, I'm excited. You can hear it in my voice.
Oh,
I'm delighted to be alive right now.
Is that someone there who will avoid conflict? What do you guys think? I think that's a great little clip on showing what a better time to be a man. What a better time to show your worth. Take it all on. There's that saying, I believe it's iron sharpens iron. What does that mean? That means other men, that when you bond together, it helps you be stronger. I think Ivan shows in that simple little clip that conflict is good. What good is a night without a dragon to slay? I mean, think about that. Think about how simple that is, but what that means. That's conflict. Let me go back here to the chat. Gonzo, if you want to jump on, you're welcome. Same thing with Anthony. Anybody else wants to jump on, feel free. Gonzo says, I can think of a couple people. I have relatives who refuse to see the truth. They sort of just believe their own reality and live in lies. Let me bring Gene on. There he is. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on here? Hold on, I got some sort of a echo.
Yeah, not on my end, you know. So Anthony says, are you really ready, Tony? Absolutely, Anthony, without a doubt. Emmanuel, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Mr. Finn, good to see you. Matt M, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Matt M, you're a mod. What happened, bro? Well, let me fix that right now. I modded you up last time. Well, I got to give you that wrench back here, buddy. I don't know what happened. Oh, you're a mod again. I don't know what happened. I expected you to have a wrench. Well, Madam, you are modded back up. Sorry, buddy. John Boston, I had an issue with my ex and saw her today. I didn't react like I had done in the past. I just don't care for the nonsense anymore. Okay. Well, John Boston, I'll tell you what, I am so glad you said that, because what you said is what is going to be kind of like the second half on how we deal with conflict with our women. So that's a good comment. Let me bring Gene back on. What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, hey. Oh, I still got an echo for some reason. Wait, okay, let's go on now. All right, cool. How we sounding?
Sounds perfect.
All right, good. Yeah, I had an echo. I had you playing in the background. I had to tinker with it, but I got it going.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Great show. I'm enjoying the comments.
Anybody else wants to jump in, feel free to jump in. The StreamYard link is pinned to the top of the chat, guys. So anybody is welcome. The only thing I ask is that let's be careful with our mics tonight, and when other people are talking, let's mute our mics. So tell me about conflict, Gene. Tell me. So how do you deal with conflict? Let's start with, how do you deal with conflict with a friendship?
I think you have to put your pride on the side. To me, that's the thing that's, pounded away is pride, and that it destroys. Pride is a destroyer, and it comes before a fall. So I think it has to be addressed between relationships with men and women, also relationships with family, business partners, all of that. Pride, and it's about when you brought up the point of, do you know someone or people that are always right? Yeah. That's one thing to think that you're right, because some people might actually be right most of the time. The issue with that is, the problem comes in is when you're not right and you don't look within and admit that you were wrong about something. You have to be able to acknowledge a mistake. And that's what pride does. It keeps you from being able to recognize you made a mistake and learning from a situation. It's about evolving, adjusting, and learning. And pride keeps people from doing that.
Do you think pride and ego go hand in hand?
Yeah, because I think without an ego, you probably couldn't have pride. But I would say it's necessary to have an ego, but pride is dangerous. You can have a healthy ego without having a bad level of pride. Mm-hmm. I think meekness is a good way. We talk about meekness sometimes. Mm-hmm. But pride is a destroyer, and it comes before a fall, no doubt.
What about people who avoid conflict at all costs?
Oh, no. There's a time and a place for conflict. Yeah, some things have to be dealt with. Yep. Yeah.
What do you think about, like I talked earlier about the buzzwords, negativity? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're causing drama. You're toxic. Mm-hmm. These are right up there with racist, bigot, mm-hmm. all those words. These are all buzzwords.
I agree. Kind of, they're words to use in a word salad. Mm-hmm. They're good words to throw in a word salad. Yep. I agree.
What about the phrase "pick your battles"? Everybody said, I've heard that so much. Pick your battles. Mm-hmm. I don't think you have a choice sometimes to pick your battle.
Yeah, sometimes the battle picks you, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah. I think sometimes the battle picks you, yeah.
Yeah.
There he is.
Hey, Gonzo. Oh, you got no audio, Gonzo, for some reason. No, still nothing.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm back. There we go. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good to see you, man. Awesome.
Yeah, all glad to be here.
The crew is back together. One night late.
Somehow, one way or another, the crew always stays.
Look at Mr. Finn made a great comment. This is good. Labeling is the tool for those who have no argument. Man, that's right on the money. I mean, we're all part of the manosphere, whether we believe it or not.
I actually thought about doing a stream tonight and saying it. I'm out of the manosphere. That seems to be a popular style video, and then 2 days later, it's the manosphere is for anybody that doesn't know, it's a broad topic. It's just an umbrella of really men's topics, men's issues, and men talking about stuff that men talk about where they can't probably. It's really a group where I think that's outside of probably most people's normal circle, So
I got a title for you.
What's that?
Red Pilling the Red Pill with Tony Bruno.
Oh boy, I got it. Just so you guys know, I take a lot of notes before every show, and this will become a $49.99 ebook. There are notes in this from pretty much every show that was ever done. Just so you guys know, I mean, there is just miles of it.
The crazed writings of Tony Bruno 100 years later.
Yeah.
It's like
I think it's always good to have an outline of something,
Yeah.
I think that's it's preparedness. It is what it is. Again, I don't consider myself a public speaker by any means, but I do like to have a base outline. So, but look at that. Matt says yeah, you're right, Matt. I saw that. My there it is. Yeah, look at that. Only $49.99. Yeah. Actually, Matt, I meant $4,999.
Amazing.
Yeah, the manosphere is broad about broads, Anthony says. Well, that's great. So Gonzo, let's get your point of view on conflict. Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with conflict?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think you have to be able to charge at it, and also I think being able to de-escalate it if there's a lot of emotions in the room. I think that's like the key thing. It depends on the situation. Depends on the situation largely, but if somebody's coming at you really hard and they're angry, then I think the number one thing to address is their emotions. I think it's actually really helpful to be able to turn a mirror on someone, with your actions or your inactions, right? Like when somebody comes at you and they're angry and they say, they just unload all this stuff onto you, to be able to just sit there calmly and just not say anything, right? But you just look them in the eyes, and then, suddenly now they're confronting what they just said, and they realize what they've just brought to the table. And so I think that's a valuable thing, being able to kind of handle that anger, and then get onto the serious issue, like actually handle the problem.
Yeah. Again, I think a little bit later here, I want to go over how to deal with conflict with a woman, because I think that's a whole rabbit hole in itself. I think we need to deal with. So conflict with men versus men. I think that there's a certain level of conflict avoidance that we all need to have. But I also believe, and I believe this so strongly, that a weak man avoids conflict. I don't care how trivial it is, but I think a weak man avoids conflict. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'll go first. I agree. I would say it's deeper than just being weak, but that is a good way to put it. It's weakness, but it's don't sometimes as men we have to actively avoid conflict when we need to address something. It takes more effort to avoid conflict than to just address the actual situation. I think that's what a lot of guys don't understand, is that if you would just address the situation and have a little bit of conflict, it's better than having the conflict with yourself for not addressing it. So it could also be an intellectual thing too. It is weak, but I think you can go deeper than that. Gonzo, what about you?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking like, yeah, if you try to avoid it, right? You know how people avoid conflict a lot of the times is actually, well, they could just not talk, right? That could be one of the things they do, but they can also lie. You can lie to try to avoid conflict. And that may produce like, some peace in the short term, but in the long term, most of the time it's going to come back, like 99.9% of the time that lie is going to come back to bite you in the ass. And now you just have like 10 times more conflict than you had before if you had just addressed it. So yeah, I think there's a huge issue with not addressing it, or addressing it in the wrong way, I guess. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that people will tend to lie more to get out of conflict?
I mean, for sure. I think that's kind of a default answer for a lot of people. And it's not the right thing to do. I mean, actually, I think that's why it's that's something that actually I agree with Jordan Peterson on. Like his first of the 12 rules for life is just to not lie. And he has a huge issue with lies, and it makes total sense. It's terrible. It just always ends up making the situation worse. But it is people's default answer, I think.
Now, Pat Stedman had a good little stream. I think it was last night, and he talked about a white lie. Do you guys know the definition of a white lie? I think what he was trying to explain, and I like the way he put this, was that a white lie is the way he explained it is, let's say you're going out to dinner with your girl, and the whole, does my butt look fat in these jeans? No, it looks great. You know what I mean? Or, I think he explained it like she had a pimple on her nose. Does this pimple look horrible? No, it looks great. You know what I mean? So a white lie, I think, is more of we'll call it a lie with compassion. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a white lie is something different than a lie. I think it's when somebody tells a white lie, I think it's just a nice way of I saw that comment. Yeah. White lie is racist. Oh boy.
It's definitely supremacist.
Yes, yeah.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, so white lie actually can be a good thing. I think it's a white lie is something I've never heard it said like that. And Pat really explained it good last night on his live stream. And just so anybody's watching that, follow Pat Stedman on Twitter. He does some great, they used to call them periscopes, but it's just live now. I don't think it's Periscope anymore. But he does some great periscopes, really does. He talks about wine at first, and then he has a whole list of things that he talks about. But yeah, follow Pat Stedman on Twitter. I really enjoy his lives. They're usually about, I want to say about in between 5 and 7. So good guy. We've had him on here a few times. So John Boston says, white lies matter. Yeah, that's funny.
They do matter.
They do.
Yeah, they do matter. If you're going to tell me a white lie, you might as well tell me any kind of lie.
Well, I mean, there's times when I think that when you're trying to cool a situation, let's say, I think that it's necessary. It's not, is it a lie? Yeah. But is it something to help somebody? Yeah. I think that was the best explanation I've ever heard of a white lie, is the explanation Pat gave. So, but,
that's a good one, because you hear things about Americans going over to European countries. I think we were talking about this on my live stream a little bit last night. Europeans tend to be, at least I know in the Scandinavians, from what I've heard, tend to be more blunt. Americans take it as rude, because American culture is so used to white lie culture. You see what I'm saying? Whereas people up in Northern Europe are kind of very blunt and direct. So it's more normal for them to be transparent and blunt, which I love blunt people. I love blunt people. Now, I'm blunt myself for the most part, but I use a little discernment. But I would rather someone be blunt with me than lie to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because most times you can feel out a white lie anyway. You say, oh, come on, you don't mean that. You know, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vivian's comment is a good one.
I tell the truth even when I lie.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I can think, I'm sure we can like come up with a situation, right? Like a hypothetical where, you know, like a lie is like the only safe way out of a situation, or like maybe it's like the least dishonorable way out of a situation. You know, maybe lying is actually the only option. Of course, those are kind of dire situations, but
When would you lie to avoid conflict? In other words, when would somebody lie, and what would they lie about to avoid a conflict?
That's a good smoke.
Let's give a scenario. Let's think about that.
Repeat the question one more time. Kind of got sidetracked.
When would somebody lie? In other words, when is it time to lie to avoid conflict?
Okay. Like to justify the lie, where it would be like,
Yeah, I guess that'd be the right way to put it, to justify the lie.
maybe to a child or an elderly person.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even with that, you have to be careful. I mean, Santa Claus is technically a white lie, right? Right? I mean, a friend of mine told me how his son found out about Santa Claus. His son's probably, I don't know what, 8 or 9, 10, something like that, around that age where kids start to sort of notice that Santa Claus might not be real. Muted myself. And he said he was in the grocery store doing something, and I think one of his little cousins had told him, or he figured it. Oh, he saw something online. That's what it was. He saw something on YouTube, saw something online. Another thing why you shouldn't give your kids tablets, the free reign with the tablets, is they're going to find stuff out that you might have told them, you might have lied to them about, like Santa Claus. He found something out on his tablet, and he came running up to his dad. He said, Dad, you lied to me. You lied to me about Santa Claus. So you still got to be careful. He said, man, it crushed him. It crushed his spirit to hear his little boy say, Dad, you lied to me. I said, yeah. The whole Santa Claus thing is a white lie, but I think maybe lying to a child or lying to an elderly person that, you know, maybe they'd keel over if you gave them a heart attack. I don't know.
Well, think of a time that it would be okay to lie, and we're just a little off topic here, but let's say guys who are in war. Let's say a guy gets his leg blown off, or you know, is just shot up, and you know, and his buddy's like, "You're gonna be okay." You know, I think it's in fact, Gene, didn't you talk about comforting lies at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Of course,
that would be a comforting lie right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a different context.
In a different context, exactly.
Yeah.
Different context.
But yeah, of course, you would want to keep the situation. You would want to keep him from getting more excited, more scared, more fearful. So you would say, "Look, you're gonna be okay." That would be, yeah. Don't look down. You're gonna be okay. Just don't look down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think this would also apply to, let's say a family member or a friend is in the hospital, and you know, you talk to him just like you know, just like kind of like where I'm working right now. I think I posted on my Instagram where the older gentleman gave me a silver dollar. In fact, I'll get that real quick because this is really important. This is a 1900 silver dollar that he gave to me. He pulled it out of his wallet, and I've watched Robert really go downhill. Just a really, really good guy, really good guy. I watched his hand shaking really hard, and he was trying to pull something out of his wallet. I was sitting on the tailgate of my truck, and he pulled this out, and he gave it to me and said, "I want you to have this, just something to remember me by."
And that's kind of, and what I had said to him was that you're going to be okay, Robert. You got plenty of years. I don't know. I don't know. But what do you say in a situation like that?
I would say that very thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, don't talk like that. You good. You look better today than you looked yesterday.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in comforting lies, like you said. You want to comfort people.
Yeah. That was a special gift right there, guys, just so you know.
Hell yeah, it was.
Known him for quite a few years, and this is something he carries in his wallet. It was actually given to him by his brother. So he considers me a good friend. I consider him a good friend too. So I thought that was a nice moment, But again, did I tell him a comforting lie or a white lie? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know, but I've seen his decline in the past year. When my mom was in the hospital last year with her shoulder, and I found out that Robert was in the hospital, and he was in there for 30 days. And you know what he told me the other day was that I was the only one that came and visited him while he was in the hospital. So just goes to show you guys, we come into this world alone, and guess what? We leave alone, So
a simple gesture too. A simple visit made his year probably.
Mm-hmm. And I brought my dad in there with me too, so it was nice. So, and the funny thing is he said to my dad, this is kind of funny. He's like, he called my dad a youngster. And my dad is, I want to say 4 years older than him. So that's just a little testament of how my dad looks,
What's his condition? What's this guy's condition? What's the matter with him?
He's had all sorts of issues. He fell, he had some issues with his insides, and he has Parkinson's pretty bad. So he's a lot of shaking, and he's kind of hunched over, uses a cane. He has to take medication in the morning. So I think that was a, it's not like I was lying to him, but I don't want to, say, yeah, you're probably good for 6 months, Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a doctor, but just saying. But all right, well, let's get back on topic on conflicts.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
What about conflict in your workplace or in business? Now, I have a construction business. I do remodeling. I do all sorts of different projects. So, and I do deal with other contractors. I take zero shit when it comes to that. There's just, I guess I would call that conflict, but it's my way or the highway. So there is no conflict. You're getting paid. You need to do your job that you're doing, and you need to do it well. So I've had conflict in the construction business, of course. And the way we handle it is, because it's my business, this is the way it is. So that's how I deal with conflict in business. Now, it can be different. If you're in a workplace, think about this. How do you deal with conflict? Because all three of us are self-employed, so we really don't have workplace issues. So conflict in a workplace is way different than being self-employed, correct? Think about it.
You have much more on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you deal with an employee? I wonder if people in the chat, I don't think everybody's self-employed, but how do you deal with somebody at your workplace? So.
Depends. What's the situation?
Well, there can be a lot of situations. It could be like somebody's not pulling their weight, There's always somebody in big business or in corporate or anything like that is just kind of floating along, and everybody's kind of, you know what I mean? They're that one person. So, and also conflict with your boss.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a case where, you know, with work, right? I mean, this is just my policy, right? And I guess it also depends on the type of job that you work, right? Like we were just talking about, but um, I worked in retail and I worked at, there was one time I worked at a hotel, and I've noticed that, you know, there are some people who really, they play into the workplace politics and they do all that kind of thing. And they're always talking about whoever and whatever's going on. And my policy with like stuff like that is just like, just stay away. And I'm not at work to make friends. I'm not at work to, you know, do anything like, I'm not at work to, or at least back then I wasn't at work to like date or do anything like that. I'm there to just go to work and do my job and then, you know, get paid. And so I think you can avoid a lot of issues by doing that, for sure. But I don't know. I mean, there's conflicts with, I mean, I find being self-employed, I think the biggest conflicts coming from differing expectations from the client. You know, in my experience, you know, being more of an artist, more somebody who makes like conceptual stuff, artistic stuff, it's usually just like a differing view or like a differing, or maybe they want something that's entirely unrealistic. You know, they're expecting like results that just aren't possible in like an impossible time frame or whatever the case may be. So I think it's just about defending yourself in that case. It's just about being upfront, just being as honest as possible. And if they say, well, like I've had it before, right? Once I got asked by this guy, he's like, I need you to edit this video and it needs to be this long and it needs to be all original content. You need to write it. And, you know, you need to produce everything. And I was like, what? Like, and I'm like, okay, well, how much are you offering for this? And the guy was like, well, or no, I'm sorry. I was like, okay, I'll do that for, let's just say, you know, playing it light, playing it safe here, conservative estimate. Let's just say like $78 a video or like $80 or something. And that's pretty low. All right. That's not like a high quote. And the guy flipped out. He was like, I can't afford to pay that every single video, yada, yada, yada. And I was just telling him, I'm like, dude, if you want these videos and stuff, it takes time to research everything. It takes time to put it all together. It takes time to, you know, so I feel like there's competition who's willing to do it for next to nothing, basically like slave labor costs. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you just have to defend yourself. And I ended up getting the gig, but the guy was not terribly happy with the price. And so that ended up being a huge issue for him. But yeah, you just have to defend yourself, I think.
I have something on that.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I guarantee you someone who's watching right now needs to hear this. You have to negotiate what you want in the workforce. If you're not happy about salary, about workload, a company will never not test your limits with money, and they will never not test your limits with their workload. They will apply full force just to the point where you don't break. So I've seen a lot of people speak up and get what they want because they spoke up. And so don't be afraid to speak up to the owner of the company. Say, look, I need this much money. I need someone to help me in this area. I need someone to hire someone. Those are necessary conflicts that need to be spoken up about. And it kind of goes back to the little phrase, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So go in there and handle business, but speak up. Don't be a pushover in the workforce.
But also you have to make sure you've done the work. You have to have something to produce. In other words, you've produced. This is what I've done for you. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to give me what I deserve. Mm-hmm. And that can be a big conflict in the workplace.
It can. Yeah. But a good employee will be well taken care of. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you, the employer is not going to come to you and say, "Oh, look, you've done such a good job. Here's more money," unless you work for a tight knit guy like Tony or me. Most cases, though, a corporation is not going to come to you and give you a raise. You have to bargain your raises.
Negotiation
In the workforce, and that's tough for a lot of people, but you have to do it. So there's your word, as your confirmation. I know somebody probably
that is a form of conflict in the workplace.
yeah.
Sure. You know, I haven't worked for anybody for probably almost 30 years, so I don't want to say I don't know, because I did do that. I mean, you know, growing up and, you know, for years I did work for other people. So conflict is big in my industry, in construction. It is. So.
Oh yeah, man, it is.
I want to go to a big one right now, guys, which is social media. Conflict on social media.
Yeah.
Our world has changed so much. Think about it. I think about the last, I'll say even 20 years, on what social media has done. Keyboard warriors, anonymous Greek figures, you know, avatars. These guys seem to have the biggest balls. I think it was Andrew Tate. You guys familiar with Tate?
Yeah.
Andrew Tate? Yeah.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
I believe he had some guy going off on Twitter on him. And this was, I've probably seen this a year or two ago, but he actually went and visited the guy in real life. And I'm pretty sure it was Andrew Tate, if I'm correct. And boy, did that guy change his tune, let me tell you. So there's a lot of things people say on social media that they won't say to you in person. Like when I started this show, I told everybody, you know, if you're here in my house with me right now, I'm the same guy. I'm going to be the same guy out on the streets. I'm the same guy.
Can confirm.
And that's the way I'm going to be. You know, I don't have perfect speech patterns. I am not going to bullshit you. Not at all. It's not going to happen here. Never, ever, 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 ever. Ever, 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 ever.
Mm-hmm.
What you get is what you see here. And this is also why I think a Thursday night show has morphed into Thursday night reality check. Mm-hmm. And I really like that, because I think every show tries to bring reality into people's lives. So to me, that's really important. And reality to me is what it says, reality. It's not your reality. It's not this fake reality. It's reality. Reality is truth. I mean, reality is objective. Would you guys say I'm right on that? Reality is objective.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think reality is objective. The reason why people, you know, get in conflict over that, right, is because people draw different conclusions about the reality. Because we all see the same reality, right? But we don't see 100% of the world. So people come to different conclusions about why that reality is the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Then you have cognitive dissonance to throw in.
Mm-hmm.
See what Dwayne says. I think I got lucky with the company I work for. I never asked for a raise, but I'm getting them every year regardless. Our manager negotiates the higher ups on my team's behalf, I think. Good for you, man. That's good to hear.
Good for you.
And that means you've got a good employer also.
Yeah.
You know.
What's the saying, Tony? If you take care of your employees, they take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Matt, though, says, and I'll have to agree with him on this, too. Being a good employee doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that also. Yeah, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the point I was making a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back to social media and keyboard warriors.
Okay.
Again, on my Facebook, at the top of my Facebook, it says fake book. This is not your life. on my Twitter, I think it's my Gab. It used to be on my Parlor. It also says, I'm living a solid man's life. No one will take space in my head. I will nothing you. And what I mean when I say I nothing you, I don't hate you. I don't like you. I have compassion for you, but you're not going to take space in my head. And I think a lot of people on social media want to take space in other people's heads.
It's crazy.
With their, and that's conflict. Now, on my channel today, I get hate on my beard trimming, head shave videos, and a lot of times I laugh it off. Like today, I forget what the guy said. It was a funny comment. He had said something, if you turn your head upside down, you'll have hair. So, which I'm like, I responded to him, I'm not big on blocking people. I block trolls. I have no issue with that. But yeah, social media is an absolute mess right now. I think that people portray completely different versions of themselves. I think there was this one company that had a fake setup. Have you guys seen this? It's a fake setup of like a G5, a Gulfstream, and you could actually go and you take pictures like you're in this expensive airplane, and it's just a little set in a warehouse. It's not actually a Gulfstream.
Yeah.
Well, guys standing next to Lamborghinis and Ferraris and things like that. In fact, I'll be taking some pictures probably tomorrow with a beautiful, beautiful Ferrari. And no, I'm not going to say it's mine. So a customer of mine just got a new F8. I don't know if anybody knows what a Ferrari F8 is. Tributo. It's absolutely gorgeous. But no, it's not mine, and I'm not going to say it's mine. So let's continue on about social media. Gonzo, how about confrontation on social media?
Don't do it on Twitter. I learned that the hard way, man. Twitter. Well, I just don't go on Twitter anymore. But like, part of it is like, I don't know. Okay, you know what? Sometimes you can have a valuable conversation on Twitter, right? But Twitter is not designed for that.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the time, you're gonna see these debates, and you can't really go anywhere because you don't have enough characters to really present your case. And so it's literally designed. It's like we were talking about that reality thing before, right? There's so little reality, and we can agree on the reality that we see, but then we come to those different conclusions about what we don't see. And so we can see the same thing in front of us, but come to different conclusions. Like, I'm sure you can think of a situation in politics and like what's going on TV right now that applies to. But yeah, it's the same thing with Twitter. So I can give you a fraction of what I have to say, and the other person is going to come to a conclusion about what I've said, and that maybe they'll assume something about my argument or maybe whatever. The point is, it's just not designed to have a productive debate. It's not designed to. It's designed to create anger. It's designed to make people angry and frustrated. And so, yeah, I don't advise handling conflict on Twitter in that way, at least. Yeah, and I think that goes for a lot of social media too. I think a lot of it is designed to kind of shut down conversations, shut down different things. So yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it, another thing too, is that, like you were saying, Tony, like people will leave comments. Sometimes you can't tell people's intentions. You don't know if they mean well or if they're just messing around. But you can't let that get to you either. You can't let praise get to you, and you can't let the hate get to you. Both of those things, because if some people, they don't fall for the hatred and the anger, but sometimes they fall for the praise.
So, social media is a form of validation for a lot of people, and that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to continue basically a fake persona, and it's all a mirage, is what it is. To keep getting that validation, it's dopamine hits.
when they wake up in the morning and see all this, you know, how wonderful you are and you're this and you're that. And I think some of it is okay, but I think it takes a strong man to understand that that validation is not why you're there. I'm not here on this channel for validation. Do I like when somebody says hey or sends me a private message on Twitter or Instagram, talking, you know, mentioning about what we talked about? Yeah, I think it's awesome. I appreciate that, you know. But I think I'll give you a little. I think I mentioned this. It was a while ago about a argument. I'll call it an argument, a disagreement. I had made a comment on one of Donald Trump's tweets, and this big black guy had. He didn't have an avatar, but he had said something about, well, your boy is this and that, and I'm like, well, no, you know, this is what I think, and so we went back and forth about probably 10, 15 comments each. And the way I ended it was, well, you know, you have your opinions, I have my opinions, and that's why we're here, is to basically hash things out. This is what this platform's about. I wish you and your family nothing but the best. Now, he responded, same to you. I appreciate the discourse, and I wish you nothing but the best. To me, that was a real sign of the character of that man. It really was. I think that's really important. It was a heated discussion, but it ended well. You know, I did, again, you know, I'm not all about, I'm going to, you know, my saying, I don't like the phrase that we can agree to disagree. I absolutely hate that. We just disagreed, and it is what it is.
You know what's interesting? If I can cut you off, people online, and Gonzo brought up the point about anger, right? Conflict on social media. People are natural tough guys on social media behind the internet. They say things online that they wouldn't say in person. But what happens is the anger reveals itself online.
Yeah, it does.
The anger reveals itself online, so people won't say half the things they'll say online. So I welcome crazy comments. I think they're funny. I'll laugh at them. I don't care. The most outrageous comments, I'll just say, cool, I'll laugh at it. I welcome it. I don't think I've ever debated someone in a comment section or a chat, something like that. I don't think I've ever done that. I've put comments, I might have replied once or twice, but never an argument. I just think it's childish. I think online conflict is childish when it comes to like keyboard warring it out, you know?
Well, I think there's different levels of that. I think if you're I mean, let's talk about Anthony Johnson. Let's talk about 21 Studios. He's battling for men. I mean, he's battling to bring quality content for men. I mean, that's the reality of that. He's not going to let anybody push him around. Social media is how he gets the message out.
Yeah, I'm talking about like typing, like comments and keyboard. You know what I'm talking about? Comment discussion.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I there's a lot of things that I see and I scroll right by. In fact, I've talked to people like that. Why don't you do what I do? If you don't like it, just scroll on by.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but some people have to make their comment known.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I welcome all comments.
Yeah, I welcome all comments also. So Gonzo, or man, let's continue on social media. I'm going to pause my camera here for a minute.
Do we have Anthony Johnson backstage?
Hang on one sec.
Okay, I think he might actually be in person.
Cool. Yeah. You know, actually, and I guess this is another 2 cents thing on social media, right? But you don't have to correct people every single time, you know, somebody disagrees with you or somebody, you know, loses their mind at you. I think there have been occasions, you know, on YouTube or on, you know, different social medias where somebody will disagree. I remember I think the free will video, the free will podcast that we did a while back, somebody said something about how they disagreed. They were just like, I think that free will is all, it's a bunch of, I think it doesn't exist. We're all just a bunch of chemistry, yada, yada, yada. And I, in that case, I, decided to kind of explain my position a little bit more and then prod them a little bit on it. And then they responded, I responded back, kind of explaining my position. And then at some point, it just became obvious that they weren't really interested in having, a productive conversation. So you just move on. So if people want to talk, you just have to be able to discern that if people actually want to have that conversation.
Or just dump their anger behind the
Exactly.
screen.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think conflict on social media is a big one right now. It's huge. I don't like, oh, hold on one second. I think we got a special guest coming in here.
Amazing.
Anthony Johnson's just going to bust down the door. You come
He's,
in.
He said in the chat he's crashing the party. This is going to be great. This is going to be great.
Too many Tonys.
Hang on to your seats, girls and boys. It's fixing to get dreamy in here.
Amazing, yeah. I guess another thing too, it's okay for people to not understand you. It's okay for people to misunderstand your point.
It's funny, I went to the cigar shop today and they had a big discussion about Trump versus potatoes. and the one gentleman that was talking about the potatoes got up and went to the bathroom. And I was talking about brainwash people, and he's like, yeah, like that guy right there. I said, yep.
What up, fam?
What's up, bro?
We got a special guest tonight, guys.
Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Melbourne PD in the house, banging on the door.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so Anthony, we are talking about dealing with conflicts as a man.
I love conflict.
This is somebody that can give you guys heads up. I mean, we're right on right now is dealing with conflict on social media.
Yeah.
So give me your perspective.
Memes are nuclear bombs. Make as many savage memes as you can. Get good at making memes. Be creative. Look back at the Man Show from the 90s, Dave Chappelle's show, Mad TV, old school Saturday Night Live, Chris Farley, George Carlin. Those guys really inspire me to make my memes. That's why they're so good. I look to real talent, real artists, like comedians, So those are really useful for social media. Having thick skin is useful as well. In conflict, it's not always good to fight back. Sometimes you just let losers kind of go away on their own because they're such losers. You don't even want to deal with them. Like they're not worth the breath out of your own body. So you just let them fizzle off on their own. Yeah. Other than that, just be prepared for war. If you want to do something important in the world, people are going to attack you and they're going to shame you, guilt you, criticize you. Just sometimes legitimate stuff, but usually not. Just malicious, retarded nonsense. And that's part of the. I think this is part of the nature of the internet being so expensive and worldwide and international. And there's so many people connected to it by the billions that you're just going to attract so many haters, There's Dream in Tony's house. I'm a Tony too, man. You got to be specific here, bro. I'm like sort of Italian. It's complicated. Yeah. It's a great Catholic name.
Actually, Tony Bruno is written right over the other Tony. So who's the real Tony Bruno here?
Oh, yeah.
It's complicated. I just got a haircut actually at his parents' house up the road. I don't know if you guys can see it from here. Looking real fucking snazzy. You feel like Vinny Corleone in Godfather 3 here with this thing.
Hey, did Tony's dad go, you're a good man, Tony?
No, not quite. His dad's savage though. I mean, his dad's savage, straight up. Old school Marine, just crazy old bastard. His parents are a window to like a different era in America. So I love going over there and hanging out and stuff. It's really amazing. I grew up in the 90s, so even that's vastly different from what they experienced growing up.
Yeah, I mean, my dad is going to be 85 in May, and my mom is 80.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different world.
He likes him young.
Yeah.
Bruno.
Yeah. Yeah. But so the conflict, we're talking about conflict on social media right now. I think it's healthy as a man. I think it's healthy to be able to face it. I mean, what's happening right now in the manosphere, we talked about this earlier, is it's really a purge is what it is. Now, I've also have no issues with talking with people offline. In other words, if you have an issue with me, I have no problem. Like, hey, let's talk this out. There's no issue with that. But what I find out is that once people spout off on their social media, they will not talk to you in person because they have no backbone. They have no spine. And that's the truth.
That happens like 9 out of 10 times they do that.
Yeah.
Every time.
They'll blow you up on social media or be passive aggressive on social media and drop little hints. But when you say, hey, let's talk about this, it won't happen. It really won't happen.
I told a guy recently to come swing on me straight up next time he sees me, and then he backed off like, oh man, like that wasn't even a thing, bro. Like, and it's just the backpedaling nonsense when you actually challenge someone. And almost everybody's a blowhard, just pile of shit. You know? It's endemic to an effeminate culture. That, as George Carlin used to say in the 80s and 90s, America has become pussified, or whatever he called it. And the manosphere, you know, sadly, is not much different than that. It is different than mainstream culture, obviously, but there's a level of pussyfooting, you know, belligerent nonsense that you see go on and on the internet in general, and including in the manosphere, just beta males left and right. What do they call it? Sheeps and wolf clothing, you know? Bunch of beta sheep pretending to be alpha males, and they all talk tough, puff their chest up. And then in real life, they're a bunch of pansies, and they'd go down in one hit, and their words have very little meaning because there's nothing backing them. No spine, no balls, no guts, no cojones. What do the Italians call them? I don't even know. Cojones? No, it's in Spanish, right?
Yeah, that can be Italian too.
Okay, yeah. No cojones. They're a bunch of pussies, man.
Yeah. It might be cajones.
Yeah, cajones, yeah.
Cajones in Italian.
We need Vito Corleone. He goes, act like a man, you know?
We used to say cojones, no cojones.
Yeah. That's Spanish is cojones.
And every group of men resents other men who don't have balls. Like every race, every religion, every, you know, country, typically they resent men, rightfully so, who don't have balls and guts. Pat Stedman tweeted, I think this morning or last night,
I saw that.
The only real currency among men is courage. And I was like, damn, that boy, I love Pat Stedman. That boy's savage.
Is purge?
Courage.
Oh, courage. Yeah.
Courage. Yeah. One of the tactical virtues, you know, of Jack Donovan. But as far as currency, it goes a long way. Other ones too, I would think, you know, honor and strength. But courage is probably chief. Because it's so, even if you're like, you can have courage if you're fucking paraplegic in a wheelchair. I mean, anybody can have courage. It's a choice you have to make internally.
Anthony, what do you think about pride, man? Pride is a big thing right now with me that I've been thinking about smoking on. I think it's destructive. Pride.
Yeah, I know it's a deadly sin, I think, in the Christian, you know, philosophy. I've never struggled with it myself too much. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm good not to. I guess it depends what you mean. Like the word faith, for example, is another word like pride that I feel people use and it has different meanings. Like when most people say faith, what they really mean is confidence and trust. Kind of a combination of confidence and trust in other men. Like I have faith in that man. It's like, do you really have faith in me, or you're confident and you trust me to do something, you know? So pride is destructive in my view if it's like this excess arrogance, like a legitimate arrogance, and you're too full of yourself and like that kind of shit. But I think you should, for example, take pride in your work. If you did a really good job and you believe it's a good job, and you can like, you know, reasonably confirm you did a good job by some set of standards you have. So I'm kind of, you know, mixed on pride. It depends what kind of pride we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about the kind of pride that keeps people from evolving or owning up to something. Say, look, I made a mistake. And then people just butt heads because one isn't willing to evolve and admit, like, hey, I made a mistake. I can improve this. That's all me.
That's super gay. Yeah, kind of pride's like super gay. I know a guy in his 60s right now.
Yeah.
I know him too. You know, he's super retarded like that. A lot of excess pride. And that's just really unhealthy, you know? It's not masculine. It's not manly, that kind of pride. It's weak is what it is. It's weakness presenting itself as strength, but it's fake. It's like fake news. You got fake strength. And that kind of disingenuous pride that's based on nothing, that's just retarded. Like if you took pride, like Tony's a contractor, if you took pride in a shit job, that's just arrogance and delusional, and that's like this weak pride masquerading as strength. Because it's not real. It's not based on anything. And yeah, it could hold you back, man. I mean, if he's a contractor, if he took pride in a shit job that he did 20 years ago, that's just stupid. That would hold him back to get better at his craft. If I did a shitty event and I took pride in it, you know, to some ridiculous degree, that's just dumb. I'm not going to get better as a man, as an entrepreneur, and an event organizer taking pride in something that it was not a good job. You know, it's a disconnect from reality. So I'm an objectivist, you know, Gonzo knows that, and he talks about that. I'm always about aligning with reality. And if you should be proud of something, then you should be proud of it, and you should understand, you know, to some degree why that is. You're not gonna be some philosopher with it and, you know, write out a fucking essay on it, but have an understanding of why you should be proud and then feel that emotion. And if you're full of shit and you're taking pride in shit, like if you bang a fat girl and you're really proud of banging some fat girl like a 5 and you call her a 10, that's fake pride. That's retarded. And that's make your life worse, basically. I don't know if that makes sense.
Good stuff. Yeah, I agree.
And then we talked earlier about pride and ego go hand in hand. Now, I think there's a certain amount of ego that everybody needs to have. You have to have an ego for yourself. But I think what happens on social media is that people get validated so much that their ego is so inflated. It's so inflated. They can't live without that validation every day. And that ego is what destroys them.
Yeah, I would actually add, not only is it inflated, you said, it's inflamed.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a wound that is getting inflamed and is, I don't know, there's something wrong with it, like it's infected, you know? And so it's both inflated, like too big, and then it's like diseased. And yeah, it tears people down. They get big audiences and they go to hell, man. They sell out and they just ruin their lives. It's like celebrities, even before the internet would do this, right? They do a bunch of drugs and shit and get AIDS and diseases and knock a woman up and shit. It's a bunch of animals, man. It's people who are immature. They can't handle that attention, basically. You know, girls today on the internet, even if they're not famous, they have 10,000 followers. They have 100 dick pics coming in a day. They hop on OnlyFans. They're making $2,000 a month. They think they're hot shit. And before you know it, the IRS is crawling up their ass. Their dad's screaming at them for being a slut on OnlyFans. And their life's ruined. And they're like, what, 24 years old?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fucking sick. And men do the same thing. You know, we make fun of the women who do it, but it's the men who do it too. And there's plenty of men in the manosphere guilty of this stuff, you know? They get a following and then it goes to their head. And then they're dumb fuck, and then everybody laughs at them because they're such a loser. So
yeah, I think ego is something that people have to lose, because when you lose your ego, I think your message will be not watered down anymore. I think that ego will like make you change your message to keep that validation and keep that ego very, very high.
Yep.
You know. So
a lot of guys, I think, with YouTube channels do that in particular. There's something about YouTube having a big audience that makes people like, it makes them pander a lot more readily. Instagram, I would think it's big too, but it makes them, they craft their message to keep the most amount of likes and views, and they don't want to do anything to upset the waters or whatever you call it. And I hate that. That's like super fucking lame. That's not how I operate. I'm the opposite. Like, how can I rock the boat as much as possible without blowing up the whole channel? Like, we'll need to speak the truth, like the Jesus things, you know, Noah Ravoy, Michael Foster talking about. Jesus came with a sword and just was wrecking all these falsehoods and lies and shit. That's great, you know. That's a really good example for men to follow, Christian or otherwise, you know. Good stuff.
Yeah, this is a good comment. Pride is the opposite of humility, I think, he says, but being humble is better and it keeps you grounded. And I do believe that. I do. I think that's a good statement. I think there's a certain amount of humility that people need to keep, because what that does is it keeps you real. It keeps you're not faking it. You're being who you are. Again, I said, a half hour ago, that I'm me. I mean, I'm me on this channel. I'm me in my home. I'm me sitting here with Anthony Johnson right next to me.
He's not a computer thing, simulation, guys. He's real.
Yeah, but I'm the same guy. If you meet me, I don't have perfect speech patterns, whatever. I might say too much, but I'm still the same guy. And my channel now has evolved into a channel of truth. And to me, that's very, very important, is just speaking truth. And it's not a subjective truth. It's objective truth.
So Tony, didn't you hear that speaking the truth on YouTube is feminine?
Yeah.
That's feminine energy, bro.
Yeah.
You're just a drama.
There's another one, is the feminine energy thing. I mean, we talk about that. There's conflict on to me, that's conflict on social media. When a comment is made and that where somebody says, you know, oh, well, we just all have to get together. And what happens is, oh, well, it doesn't matter if somebody's screwing somebody else as long as we're unified.
Does that sound familiar to anybody? Didn't we just have a president elected that said the same damn thing? And how's that working out for us? How much is gas in your town?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. So to me, it's kind of a, I don't know. It's just shady.
It's what people want to hear, though. You know,
Yeah.
it's the bullshit they want to hear.
Yeah.
People want blue pills. You know, they don't want red pills.
They do.
I'm angry.
They do. That's the truth. Red pills are hard, man, for most people. They really sometimes hard for me.
That's why you got to get the butt to people, like a suppository. You just take a red pill and just shove it up their fucking ass with a YouTube video. That's what I'm doing. I like doing that a lot.
The problem with guys that find the red pill or any kind of pills. Now,
I saw an old friend of ours took the rainbow pill today, right? Beach towel and a rainbow pill.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
It's funny you say
I
that.
didn't even know there was a rainbow pill, but I guess there is.
There is now. When you sell rainbow colored shit to pander to fucking alphabet people, you took the rainbow pill.
Yeah.
Inside joke.
It's funny that you say that because I actually have a note on my phone here. I came up with this for I don't know. I'll throw this in a video at some point, but I wrote down it's big, it's red, it's round, and it's red, and it's a red pill flying straight for your ass. It's true.
I think one of the issues with people that are, it's on one of my notes here, is that people find the red pill, and a lot of times, most of the time, people find their red pill or their entrance fee to the manosphere is trauma. I mean, we talked about this before, and what happens is you've got like a divorced guy who found his red pill and found his truth. You know, he could be black pill now, whatever, but what happens is this guy wants to preach. Okay, it's like an alcoholic that kicked off alcohol. He's got to tell everybody not to drink. It's a person who quit smoking cigarettes and they have to tell everybody how bad it is. Let me tell you something. These are the worst people to take advice from. These people are still damaged. And I see a lot of this in the manosphere where a guy gets divorced, a guy gets whatever. Not to say that, you know, he wasn't, you know, he's not legitimately hurt. And I understand that. And I do have compassion for that guy. But now this guy is an expert and everybody's listening to him. What I'm big on is accountability. Okay. Everybody's responsible regardless, you know, of what happened in your relationship, but you're responsible also. You had some sort of role in that play. You did something wrong also. What happens is with a lot of guys when they get divorced or find this red pill after a breakup or something like that, and they want to see the truth, what happens is their anger takes over and they really can't see. And it's really a foggy red lens is what it is. It's not a true vision that they have.
It's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
A foggy red lens.
Yeah. So things are fogged for them, but they also want to preach. They want to preach. So you'll see guys like this traveling from different corners of the manosphere to basically find what fits them or what will accept them is really what it is who will accept them. Who will accept them in this phase that they're in? So my opinion and my thoughts to anybody out there that's listening to people that are new to this type of content, which is helping men. I mean, that's really what it's about. And helping women is really what it's about, is be careful who you're watching. And I know a lot of them who are still injured. A guy that's been through a shitty divorce or really had an issue, it takes a few years at least for him to get his sanity, clarity, and reason back. I mean, that's reality right there. That is, to get his mind back to where he can think and he can rationalize what's actually going on in his head. And he'll stop what I call preacher mode, which is that whole, I'm going to preach, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I'm going to be this angry bastard who's going to who's going to bust balls. So, but that's what I see going on as far as these newer guys who have been injured. There's a lot of guys who are injured that look for great help and understand it, take it, live their lives. But there's also a lot of these guys who might be well known, and they're brought on to a panel of experts, but because they're well known, all of a sudden their opinion is a good opinion. When you can still see that anger, you can still see that they're hurt. So basically what I'm saying is, be careful who you take your information from. Don't take it from that injured man. He's not qualified to guide you in any way, shape, or form. There's no qualifications there when you're still in that injured stage. So anything you want to drop on that?
No, it's a really good way to put it. I mean, the community is filled with guys like that. Preacher mode is an interesting way to put it too. And I've been through that myself. You know, it took me a couple of years, like exactly like you said, to figure out how I was responsible for what happened in my last relationship with the Medusa chick. And early on, I had a little bit of awareness of that, but it was very minimal. And it really took like probably 2.5, 3 years to really begin wrapping my head around it. And that was after, you know, finding the red pill more explicitly. That was finding different psychology works, psychopathology, understanding, you know, what happened to her in her life, how that resulted in meeting me, my own childhood trauma, things like that. But yeah, it's guys in the manosphere need to be way more critical and more skeptical of advice they take. I think right now the way it is pretty similar to the rest of the internet, which is where if you hear it, then it's true, which is fucking delusional. So the internet is really kind of like a tabloid from like the 90s, but people for some reason just believe everything they read, and here is really what it is. They really believe it. You know, if some guy says it and that's the first thing they hear, they go, "Oh, I believe it. He said it. It must be true." And there's no kind of due diligence, or it's very, very low. There's no skepticism, or there's very, very low of it, very little of it. Any kind of critical thinking, where you're really critical about what you're hearing and skeptical, and you know, you kind of like, you're assertive, you push back against it to check it. Like, is this really true? You look it up, you maybe ask the guy a question. Like, there's not enough of that. And I think it's actually linked to why these guys suck with women. The manosphere is filled with betas who listen to other betas who fake to be alpha. And those, you know, general betas, the beta male police, I call them, the BMP, they also get played by women. Friend zone, orbiters, you know, whatever the fuck it is, right? It could be digital stuff, online, simps, whatever. They get played by women, they get played by men. And there's a relationship between how they get played. There's a fundamental common denominator. It's that they're not skeptical enough, right? When a girl wants to play them, they're not skeptical. They just believe whatever they want to hear because the girl's hot and she's being nice to them temporarily. So they'll just believe it. When a guy is nice to them on YouTube, they don't even know. Oh man, thanks, bro. He's just $5 super chat, dude. Name all the guys fuck fat old woman. Like, he's the master of menopause. I mean, it's level. I've said it before on my own channel, but if the average guy in the manosphere knew what me and Tony Bruno here know, all of you would vomit. You'd pick up your laptop, throw it out the window, you'd scream, you'd howl at the moon, and if it was legal, you'd be shooting guns up in the air, just fucking on a rampage. Like, it's that bad. It's that bad. There are so many frauds and so many fucking losers on not just on the internet. Okay, that's a big place. Just in the manosphere, a lot of people would be shocked. You'd really just vomit, throw up in your own mouth if you knew the truth about half the guys. It's sick. It's fucking sick.
Yeah. So you guys gotta, you know, it's like when you're vetting for your, you know, your other half, your woman. When you're vetting, it's the same exact thing. I don't understand how you can be taught to vet for a woman, but you can't be taught to vet for who you're getting your information from.
Bingo.
It's amazing to me how other men will just draw to these guys who just really don't live the life that they say they're living. And that's the part that bothers me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to do with, you know, and I get there's a big money grab in the manosphere. I understand that. I mean, I do. And I have nothing against somebody that, you know, is making money. I mean, there's been a comment about Anthony, you know, in the 21 convention, which is absolute bullshit. Here's a guy who puts every penny back into creating free content to the world. I mean, it's not like he's driving. He didn't drive here today in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
He probably could have if he didn't create this content that's free. Now, also another thing, and this is going to be real quick because there was comments about why would Anthony still put out videos of these guys, because he's not into cancel culture. He's not into changing history.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody spoke at 21, he's not going to change history because they spoke there. I mean, it's plain and simple.
Honestly, on that issue, I'm really shocked that people ask me that and they're angry and surprised by it. Like, I think when I see that, I'm like, how stupid is this person? Like, you want me to start erasing videos of someone you like? Like, I'm putting out videos of someone I don't even like, right? And these people like this person, obviously. They're defensive and white knighting for some dude, right? It's like, you want me to not publish content of this guy? You want me to erase content that he gave? You want me to magically rearrange history and how things actually happened? These people are fucking, they're all, the manosphere is mostly not SJWs, obviously, and not feminists. But there's plenty of feminists in the mist and SJWs. They just hide. You know, Rollo Tomasi's been accused of being a feminist for a long time. He probably is. He's definitely an SJW. Gay Lube Oil, this dude on the Red Pill subreddit, the name sounds ridiculous, but he's actually a sharp dude. He's been fighting with Rollo for years before I even had anything to do with Rollo, because he knew Rollo was an SJW. A lot of these dudes are SJWs. They're feminists, BLM supporters, SJWs, like a bunch of them. You have no idea. They pander to the manosphere. They pander to whatever's popular and whatever's trendy. A lot of these guys pretend to be Christian. They're not even Christian because they think it's popular in the manosphere. It's sick, man. It is so sick what these guys will do to make money, another buck. Not even that much money, just like a little bit, right? Anything to get another fucking dollar out of your fucking wallet. It's sick, man. It's absolutely sick. Bunch of frauds, bunch of losers, man. The only good thing is long-term, they tend to destroy themselves. They eventually, you know, kind of like a celebrity and making a bunch of money. They can't handle the fame, the attention, the notoriety, the criticism. They eventually just self-implode because they're weak. And on a long enough time span, kind of like water, you know, eroding a beach or something like that, eventually the waves will break down the beach and the sand, and it gets through whatever the bullshit is. And these people, they're frauds.
It's the I think it's called the Ouroboros. It's the snake eating itself.
Yeah, eventually it gets around to it.
Are you guys familiar with that? Gonzo or man, the Ouroboros?
Yeah.
Heard it before, yeah.
I think, isn't that something? Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Donovan talks about that.
Yep.
It's the snake eating itself. And it's funny because it's really, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but the fact that it's a snake. I mean, when you hear somebody's a snake, what do you think of? When you say he's a snake? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
To not be trusted.
Yeah, it's not a good thing when you call somebody a snake. So, but all right, and I think the last topic we were going to talk about, then we were going to do an AMA with me, so anybody can in the chat can. I didn't ignore you. I see that, Anthony.
Yeah, the chat is itching for AMA, Tony.
Yeah, and it's Ask Me Anything. So we'll get to that. We got one more quick topic, and that's how to deal with conflict with your woman, okay, or your partner, your marriage, whatever you want to call it. There's one thing I do want to say, and I have this cup here purposely, okay, guys, and I want everybody to look at this. I want everybody to look at this, okay? There's a reason I say this. Now, when you're dealing with your conflict with your woman, okay? This is really, really important. What does that say? Men and women are different. You see that? We're not the same. We're not the same. And that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's life, guys. Men and women are different. So
We got to convince 95% of women of that fact, though.
Yeah.
I think men say, that's true. Women have to like go through this whole cognitive dissonance collapse to like see just that simple fact sometimes.
I think that fact goes more toward we'll call modern women.
Yep.
And I think younger women. I don't think it, in my age range, I don't think that's as much of a factor when you get over your 40s. Do I think that, there's a lot of women out there that have been divorced and things like that, but they still understand the value of a man, the value of being feminine, the value of just living a normal life. But so what I wanted to talk about is how do you deal with conflict? Again, this is the issue. We're fixers. And I know, Gene, we had this talk, I think we had this discussion the other day, that when there's a conflict with you and your woman, The man seems to, we want to fix things right now, whether it be a friendship, whether it be, you want to fix things, you'll get on the phone and you'll talk. But you guys got to realize that women process differently. I think women process things slower. They process their emotions before they process anything else. And so I think when you're dealing with your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, you guys got to realize you're dealing with a completely different thing. You're dealing with emotions. Not to say that a man doesn't have emotions. So you got to, Pat Stedman talks about, in a good way, and because I've never understood when he said this, is like feminine energy. But the way he puts it is you try to understand that feminine energy. And feminine energy is a beautiful thing when it's on point. I mean, it really is, guys. I mean, let's face that. There's nothing better than being with a feminine, girly woman. I mean, there just isn't. It's pleasant, It's great company, and it's natural. That's the way it should be. I mean, so one of the things is with a woman, we got to be careful not to react. A reaction is to protect, provide, fix that. Again, we're fixers. We got to fix it now. Women don't react like that. They don't respond to that when you want to fix something. I mean, I'm giving you 58 years of wisdom here. They don't respond to that. They really, really don't. I think this is where it's really important, where I think men have to learn their communication skills when it comes to women. I'm talking, and now I'm talking about a relationship now. Yeah. I'm not talking some thought you meet in a bar. Okay. We're talking about relationship now. Girlfriend, wife. Communication skills are different. I think after time, you get to read your woman. In fact, Michael Foster, I think, put up I think it was on Facebook or Twitter. There was like 20 things he did with his wife.
22.
22 things he did with his wife. And I would encourage everybody to read this, whether or not you're in in a marriage, a relationship, but it was really good. It's on Facebook. Again, Michael Foster. I believe it was on Twitter also. But do you remember what it was? 22?
I think he's been married 22 years. So he put out a bullet point 22 list of things that he's learned along the way. And his wife responded publicly on it. She was very supportive.
Yeah.
He's an amazing man. A good dude. Very good dude.
Yeah. Let me
very, very red pill alpha male, that guy. He's a true master of the game, him and Tanner.
Let me look at the comments. That's Vivian. Thank you for the comment. Mr. Finn, I've learned sometimes they just want us to listen. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But again, we're fixers, man. And it's tough. This is hard for most of us to get.
Well, we have to be, because women don't fix things. So like, if they're not fixing it, then we got to fix it. Who else is going to do it? Not that it means we need to do it in the moment, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the problem is women they got this pride, man. They got this pride. I can do it on my own. And they got to learn the hard way.
I think it's only American women, though, man. Like, we really got to keep in mind it's modern women and American women. Outside of America in this current time period, this behavior is like really abnormal, and it's gonna last one way or another. It's gonna end. It's gonna end bad. It's gonna fade out. Who knows? But it ain't gonna last.
Agree.
Yeah. So when you're dealing with that, just remember, guys, you're dealing with a woman's emotions, and a woman's emotions they're powerful. I mean, they can affect the way you feel. They can affect a lot of things in your life. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of guys. A lot of guys have reached out to me since I've been doing this stream. And anybody that has talked to me or reached out to me on Instagram or Twitter with your private messages, trust me, they're all private. But I do appreciate people reaching out to me. I don't give you advice. There's a difference. I give you support, and that's what I'm here for: support, not advice. Okay. And when we talk in these, we'll call it these round table discussions. It's basically, I think we got 4 of us here now. It's 4 different philosophies on how you deal with things. So when you're dealing with women, remember, you're dealing with emotions, which is not a bad thing. Women have emotions. So be careful how you don't react, respond. I think that's really, really important when it comes to being in your relationship. And as men, I think an instant reaction, again, like I said, is I got to fix this, and I got to fix this right now. It is going to be fixed now. That is not the way it works.
I've been exercised. Yeah.
Again, men and women are different right there. And that's the reality. So, you know, sometimes you got to, I liked, who was it? I think it was Mr. Finn. Yeah. Yeah. He made a really good comment. I've learned sometimes they just want us to listen and not for us necessarily to fix it. I think what happens is I think we need to listen first and then let them go through what they have to go through, support them, and then fix it when time is necessary, if it's fixable.
Oh, that's a hard pill to swallow.
It is. It is.
Well, think about what he's saying, though. I think he's right, because what are women focused on? Are they focused on reality and fixing a problem, or are they focused on their feelings? They're focused on their feelings. If you jump too fast, too soon to fixing a problem, that doesn't address their important value system, which is their emotions. You're just completely, they feel ignored. They don't feel like they exist to you.
Yeah.
They feel like you don't understand them because you don't.
Yeah.
That's what that, so when you jump too fast, too soon to fixing the problem, that's how they feel. The same way if you're like horny and some chick is ignoring that, you're like, yo, bitch, like, I don't care about some other shit going on. Like, I want to fuck. You feel like ignored, right? You don't feel like she's seeing you as a man. It's like, no, I want to fuck. Like, this is not complicated. Yeah. So we have, it works both ways. You know, they get confused with us sometimes too.
They do.
Because they have different systems, they have different thinking. Their brains
it's receptance from them, and a lot of times they're not receptive about when we want to fix something, and we're like, why won't she be receptive of this advice, this course of action?
Yep.
And it's like we feel inadequate now because now the person or the woman we're dealing with is not receptive to our leadership. If you're an alpha male, that's how you're gonna feel. You know, if you're a beta, you're gonna say, okay, this is normal for me, or whatever. Okay, I support you, whatever you want to do. You know, but if you're an alpha guy, you're gonna say, hey, you know, I want you to receive what I'm presenting to you. But I wanted to say really quick, I've been exercising this thing, and I got Elliot Hulse talked about this just recently, and I love Elliot Hulse, Anthony. I love his stuff. But anyway, admire him a lot. Yeah. But he says this thing where he says sometimes, where he gave a situation, I don't know if y'all had seen the video, his wife was basically like, hey, what are we going to do with these fire extinguishers? And he was like about to go hit his workout, so he was kind of in a hurry, didn't want to be bothered. And he gave her some like answer. Maybe he was a little harsh, and she come to him and was talking to him about it later, talking about how it affected her. She didn't like it, in other words. So he basically said, here's an idea. I've been exercising myself personally, telling people or telling a woman, my woman or relationship, that I don't want to answer that question right now. I don't want to answer that immediately. You know, because a lot of times what happens, they'll bait you into something unconsciously, subconsciously, bait you into something, you know, to instigate something they want to feel, right? They want to feel something. Maybe it's tension, drama, and whatever. They want to feel something. They don't buy conflict, man. Conflict. They want to feel some sort of a conflict, and you just say, I don't want to answer that immediately. So you might be tempted to, but instead of, like Tony was saying, reacting quickly with that, just put it off. And sometimes it really works out. Try that with your woman.
That's a power move. Only a powerful man could do that. A beta male would feel not only the urgency to respond, but the need. Like he didn't have another option to delay it to a response an hour later or 5 hours later or the next day. That means you're in command of the relationship and you have more power, which is what it needs to be and which is really what she wants, right? Whatever the immediate problem is probably irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. 10 years later, no one's going to even remember what the fuck happened. It's not even going to matter, truly and objectively. But it's, what kind of man are you in the relationship, and what kind of dynamic is there in the relationship? Yeah, that needs to be, you need to be powerful. You need to be a man. And that means sometimes just walking away and say, hey, we'll deal with that later. I'm going to answer that like when I feel like it.
Yeah, instead of jumping to something or getting baited into something where you react emotionally.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this is a whole nother rabbit hole. We'll go down another leadership by a man. I think that most women will think of leadership as like a dictatorship, and that's not what it is. It's there's a lot of things when it comes to leadership in a relationship. You know, I've had this discussion with somebody here a few weeks ago about what it means to be a leader in a relationship, but we'll go over that some other night. But any Gonzo, how about you on men and women are different, and as far as dealing with conflict with your woman, not your woman per se, but your marriage, your girlfriend.
The angle. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I feel blessed in the sense that, like, we never, like, personally speaking, I've never gone to bed angry. I've never been in that situation. I think, and part of that, I think, comes from just, you know, she's very receptive, and I think, you know, like, just, she accepts the leadership. She accepts, you know, all right, this is the verdict. This is what we're going to do. Here's the plan. She's okay with being led. And I think that's the key thing. So we never get into these huge arguments, these disagreements. And so I think it's worked out in that sense. And that's why I think I say all the time, like, I think the number one thing to look out for in a woman is if she's willing to be led. I think that can be a difficult thing if you're dealing with a woman who doesn't want to be led. And I'm not saying that it's going to be impossible to, you know, to shine light into the relationship, to, you know, revitalize it, but it's going to be, I mean, it's an uphill battle, and it might not work out. You know, that's just the truth. So being able to deal with it in the moment, being able to, you know, just when something comes up, just deal with it right then and there, you know, never just letting it sit, never letting it, you know, just like fester and all this stuff. And I think a lot of people, they just get angry at each other, and they just keep getting angry and angry until the woman explodes. You know?
Get some chicken chatter.
Yeah.
Woman.
That's right.
I remember her. I remember Nicole. Hold on, we're gonna let you in here in a second. Just I remember her. I do remember her from streams. Mr. Finn says, but try to let her know she's been heard. That's the most important thing. Then you can address it when you can.
That's gold.
That's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%.
It's a pain in the ass. It really is, but it's gold. That's good info. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's tough to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be able to, like, if you're in a marriage, you have to be able to correct your wife. You have to be able to say, no, we're going to do this, or, you know, make the decision. And then she has to be open to that decision being made. So I think that is, like, the number one, like, I can't think of anything else that's bigger than that when it comes to relationships, or specifically marriage. That on its own, I think, will destroy everything. So, yeah. Discussion.
Any final words on this topic, Gene?
No, just what I said. Exercise that. Try that with your wife. Try that with your girlfriend. Say, I don't want to address this question immediately. When a woman, they may put the pressure on you. Don't always fold under that pressure. Take some time back, and make sure you're not addressing issues on an empty stomach as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't deal with problems with your woman while you're hungry.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I appreciate you guys, and it's been a good discussion so far. And we're going to jump into the last final minutes, which is the AMA. Ask me anything. This is something I promised everybody. Mm-hmm. So, you know, anybody in the chat, you want to ask me anything? Nicole, I'll get you on next time. I just kicked you. Sorry, but it's a little late for the discussion. I wish you jumped on earlier. I do remember you though, and I appreciate you wanted to jump on tonight, but wanted to jump on either Thursday or Saturday night. So, but I did see you come in there, but we're kind of past that part. But yeah. So
Go ahead, chat. Ask me anything. This is it. This is your chance. I don't care what it is. How about Gonzo or me? You guys want to start? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start. Matt says, ask Gene's beard anything. Talk to the beard, baby. Talk to the beard.
Are you from the Old Testament or the New Testament?
Yeah.
The old. It's the old.
Yeah.
This is the Old Testament
So
beard.
I don't. There you are, Nicole. Thank you for jumping in there. Appreciate it. But yeah, jump in there Thursday or Saturday night. Good to see you again. By the way, I definitely remembered you because when I saw you in the chat, I'm like, how do I know that name? It's been a while since we saw you, but thank you. But yeah, let's drop some. Come on, guys. Have you traveled outside the Anglosphere? If so, where? Yeah, I've traveled for surfing, guys. So I've been to Central America, a lot of the Caribbean, and things like that. So yeah, I've been to Italy, toured the Ferrari factory, which was awesome. Went to Milan and Maranello and Modena. So it was a great trip. So yeah, I've been a few places in my life for sure.
That's cool.
And but to be honest, I've never been out west. So I don't know if this Matt, is this for Gene or for me? But I do oil my beard with tactical soap beard oil for sure.
I don't oil my beard every morning. No. I just don't. I don't have the time. Well, I don't want to make the time for that. I oil my beard maybe twice a week with organic coconut oil.
Let's see. Question, Matt M. Tony, are you on good terms with George right now? George who? I wouldn't know. I would imagine you're talking about my brother. You'll have to ask him that, but I have. He's my brother. He'll always be my brother, and I love him. And that's all I can say about that. But I do appreciate the question.
His dad gave me a great haircut today.
Yeah.
Papa George, Grandpa George,
Yep.
Georgie.
And have you ever put in sod? Any suggestions on keeping it growing? Yes, I have put in sod. Water the hell out of it. When you think there's enough water, water it again. Gene, you can answer that, right? Water.
Oh yeah, and be patient with it.
Yeah.
Give it time. It might look like it's gonna die, but be patient. Water the hell out of it, like Tony said, and give it time. Before you know it, it'll be growing so much you won't be able to cut it enough.
Yeah, Tony, are you going to accept extreme ownership of your troubled relationship with GB, and how will you resolve it? That is not up to me. So I put that in God's hands. So
There you
that's
go.
why I'm leaving that. Blood is thicker than water. Got it. Yeah, it is. GB made a clear video about that, cutting ties. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that video, but I'll check it out.
Here's a question for you, Tony. This is a surfer question.
Okay.
This is something I learned recently, and I'd never heard of it, so I just want to know if you'd heard of this. But this is apparently something that surfers get, or they can get. I'm not sure if it's common, but there's this, when you're getting up on the board trying to, I guess, for lack of a better term, you're trying to mount the board just right, to get the wave. What can happen is apparently you can overextend your back, and within a matter of hours, you can become paraplegic. And apparently this is a condition that can happen just from trying to get up and sit down. Like day to day, this happens to people. And I'm like, what? That's crazy.
Geez, I've never heard that. I mean, I've been surfing for over 30 years, and I've never heard that. I mean, I've had some horrible injuries from surfing for sure. But yeah, I've never heard that. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. Nothing I've ever seen. I don't, if in fact surfing is a great sport, if it's amazingly aerobic, and it is so much, it is such a difficult, I'll say it's a difficult sport to catch if you don't have balance. If you have balance, you will pick it up immediately. If you were a skier, a snowboarder and you've never surfed, it's something you will. But don't forget, surfing is different. When you're snowboarding or skiing, it's a fixed object. Okay, think of a wave. A wave is moving. A wave is an energy from the ocean. You know, we'll get into energy like with Pat Stedman, but a wave is energy. You're surfing that energy, so it's changing and it's morphing the whole time you're surfing. So it's definitely something different. But to answer your question, Gonzo, no, I've never heard about anybody getting paralyzed. I mean, the worst thing that's happened is if your board isn't waxed. Just so you know, guys, wax goes on the top of the board. Somebody that hasn't surfed, not on the bottom. You wax your skis and your snowboard on the bottom to make it slipperier. It's the opposite on surfing. You wax the top so your feet stick. And let's say your rails, which is the edge of the board, is not waxed properly. I've had that to where I went to get up and then your hands will slip and your face or your chest will slam the board. But yeah, that's the injuries I've had from surfing are probably I had basically a fin just take a scallop out of my back, and the fins are super sharp. Yeah. And my younger brother, I remember, I'm like, well, you know, my back was bleeding, and I'm like, what's up? He's like, well, there's a piece of meat hanging, and he goes to stuff it back, and it fell in the sand. And I'm like, just leave it there, man. Just leave it there.
Wait, you had a piece of meat hanging off your back?
Yeah. I got wrapped up in a barrel, and the fins came and cut my back.
Oh man!
So it was like a watermelon scalloper, and so my younger brother was trying to put the meat back into place.
The meat.
And it fell on the ground, and I'm like, well, just leave it there. It's probably shot now. So, but
amazing.
Let's see the questions. Let me see here. Since you like being in the water, no, I'm not. I have done scuba though. Every time I hear that scuba, I think of that. What's the? Is it Along Came Polly with Ben Stiller, the scuba instructor? You guys ever seen that movie? Scuba? You want scuba? But no, I'm not certified, but I have done it. But yeah, and I've done free diving too with snorkel, of course. She says, "Can you make a surfing video?" There's some surfing videos with me and my GoPro on my Instagram for sure. It's kind of cool to have a. So, are you still thinking of moving out of Florida? Yeah, I am actually. Yep. Not, you know, I have a price point on my house, and if it reaches it, yeah, there's never, you know, I'm looking at like Arkansas or places like that, or, you know, that's a possibility. It's always open. And the reason is because I get tired of, in fact, Pat Stedman had tweeted about like leaf blowers. It's amazing how you can't relax on a Sunday afternoon with blowers and lawnmowers, and I'm sure Anthony can tell you that it's just, there's just noise. I mean, noise pollution to me is just.
You have way
brutal.
less out here, and there's still some. Where I'm at, there's even more planes overhead constantly and shit. So
Yeah.
It's really aggravating.
Yeah. So, will your boy Ron DeSantis run for president 24? Yeah, man. I'd like to see Trump DeSantis or DeSantis Trump. I think either ticket would be incredible. And I think that's what's in our future. So why do you want to move to Arkansas? For peace, quiet, and shooting an AR-15 off my back porch. So yeah, here's Frank says, Ozarks are a refuge. I love this place. Yep. Awesome, Frank. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, bro. So don't move to California if you hate leaf blowers.
A lot of blowers in California.
So, where do you see the manosphere in 5 to 10 years? Woo! You know
That's
what? I'm going to answer this question, then I'm going to let Anthony Johnson answer this one after me. I know it's an AMA for me, but in 5 to 10 years, I hope it's, and I do hope it's, and this is not to sound corny, but I do hope it's more unified. And I hope that the main goal of everybody, again, it's, to me, it's
if somebody's making money off quality content, I have no issue with that at all. I really don't. People have to make a living, and if you're working and you're helping people, hey, that's okay. I'm good with it. But in 5 to 10 years, I hope that it's a community that's been purged, and I hope that I hope the cream rises to the top. Let's put it like that. Simple. I hope that the genuine, honest people that want to help men really rise above. That's what I hope. So, how about you?
That's really well put. Cream rising to the top and all that. I do think the manosphere will be more united in 5 to 10 years. I think the conflict that we've seen over the past 2 years, the civil war that kicked off, so to speak, back in 2019, it's re-escalating now. I think it's actually a very healthy, positive thing, and it's going to lead to a much more unified manosphere community in the future, and a much healthier one that's more positive.
I have
speakers behind the scenes. Go ahead.
I have a question for Anthony. Will the manosphere ever get into power, such as government, political power?
Probably a long enough time span. I think there's a lot going on outside the manosphere that could contraindicate that, like the economy collapsing, the dollar collapsing, America collapsing, World War III, all there's a million different things like that, right? But absent these major external forces that we can't control, I do think the manosphere has a bright future, not only in a community sense and in a cultural sense, but actually gaining, you might see some real manosphere candidates for office, mayor, Congress, governor, even president someday, who knows? I think Trump, in a way, was actually kind of a manosphere candidate, unofficially speaking. And even some of the feminists kind of recognize that. Trump was very heavily supported by the manosphere. The MGTOWs, the PUAs, the MRAs, all this stuff, right? The red pill, obviously. I mean, duh. I mean, you have this alpha male dude who grabs a woman by the pussy running for president, and he talks about it openly. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And he's cracking skulls, making fun of people like Crazy Nancy, Crooked Hillary. I mean, this is all very kind of stuff. But Trump, in many ways, already was. Not officially speaking, but informally, yeah. And I think you might see more of that in the future for sure. The manosphere is heavily affected. That's why I call myself a son of the manosphere, tongue in cheek, but it's heavily affected the millennial generation, a segment of millennial men. The same way feminism has wrecked millennial women, the manosphere has positively influenced an entire generation of men, and much more so than Gen Z has, I think. But we'll see how that goes. Much more so than Gen X, though, for example, and obviously the boomers. So we have yet to see all these manosphere guys age and mature and build families and wealth and power. And if they can stay alive through whatever's coming in America and in Western culture and collapse and problems and stuff, yeah, I think you might see a lot of that. You might see these guys now who are young attorneys who like the manosphere. You might see them rise to become judges and politicians and stuff, but not like some scumbag politician, like a statesman, someone who really cares about the issues. So yeah, I think there's some real positivity in our future. That it's frustrating that we have to be patient, but I think patience will bear fruit over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
These guys that find the manosphere at 27 years old, and they're just getting out of law school or something, like they're not going to forget the things they learned in the manosphere and how bad things are for men and fathers and masculinity. They see it not just in the manosphere being talked about, but they see it on TV and they see it in movies and they see it on the news, So I think there's some real, we might see that in the future. I hope so. It'd be very good.
Anthony will be in his 3rd term.
As president. Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here.
Manosphere forever. Keep the manosphere great. Dream 2022.
Let me see here. What type of philosophies were propagated once the roller pill dies? Now, that question, I'm going to answer that, and then Anthony can answer it also. I think the philosophies that have to be propagated are philosophies of truth. To me, that's important. I think the manosphere needs people that are genuine. I don't think, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you were to come into my home right now, you're going to get the same Tony that you're seeing when you come on these streams. It's not going to be any different. And I think that's what the manosphere needs, And I think the philosophies I think, philosophy really, if you look at the definition of philosophy, it's really the search for truth and wisdom. There's all sorts of philosophies. I mean, I think everybody right now sitting here we all have our philosophies on life, our philosophies on relationships, our philosophies on friendships, on family. But everybody, I think, has a certain philosophy, and that is the truth. So what types of philosophies will be propagated once the Rolo pill dies? To me, it's nothing against Rolo at all. I think that Rolo has done some great work. I'm not going to knock him for that. I think there's issues with some of his things that he says. Maybe the only issue I might have is the congruency of his lifestyle and what he preaches. And I don't want to judge people. I just know that I'm a truth seeker. So that's where I leave it. I hope the philosophy of truth is the one that's propagated the most. So you want to go?
Absolutely. I can piggyback off that pretty easily. So you're talking about a philosophy of truth, but really what that means is science. Science, real science, not this woke feminist SJW science, capital S bullshit. Real science is the pursuit of truth. That's really what the whole fucking purpose of that field of life is. The scientific method is the pursuit of truth, right? So I'll give you an example though. The manosphere right now is filled with pseudoscience and has been for a long time. Fake science, pretending to be real scientific, real hardcore, savage, not conventional wisdom. It's counter to the mainstream narrative, and it's red pill, and it's not blue pill feminist garbage. And some of it is, and some of it's not. Some of it's just pure pseudoscientific garbage. Some loser keyboard jockey like Raul Tomasi cooked up, and then he puts it next to other stuff he stole from other guys that's legitimate. Guys who actually are authentic and went out in the field and tested these things, right? So for example, too, there's a reason Shawn Smith pushed back pretty assertively against Rolo's definition of hypergamy, which is a very specialized custom version of hypergamy that is its own concept that has very little to do with the more sociological version of hypergamy outside of the manosphere where it comes from, right? Marrying up in these things. Rolo's version of hypergamy is pseudoscience. I think Shawn Smith explained this pretty clearly in his 45-minute breakdown of the manosphere and really Rolo's version of hypergamy. And Rolo hated that. Since Shawn did that video right around that time, a year and a half ago, that shit, him and Rolo Rolo fucking fucked off from that whole thing, right? Whereas before that, Shawn was this cool psychologist. He was down to, live stream repeatedly on Redman Group and all these shows and stuff. Now Shawn's person non grata for doing that, right? But it's not just Rolo. It is endemic to how the manosphere operates. Shawn Smith, again, clinical psychologist, just put out a video yesterday.
I was just going to say that.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's about theories and
clever theories.
And
Yep.
Gene, I know we talked about this. I sent you that video. What a great video. In fact, that's some of Shawn T. Smith's best work, I think.
Yeah.
I think that video was so on point. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. Exactly. When Shawn says clever theories, what he means is pseudoscience, right? Mm-hmm. This is a more palatable, easy to understand way of rather than who wants to click on a video that says, 45-minute breakdown of pseudoscientific drug theories in the manosphere, scientific understanding of hypergamy. No one wants to click that, right? But when he says clever theories, it's dudes. That video is not exactly what I'm talking about, but it's pretty close. But the manosphere is basically filled with these clever theories masquerading as scientific, legit red pill knowledge, and it's not. Some of it happens to be just because even a broken clock's right twice a day or whatever. But a lot of it's just fucking junk. It's burnt, wounded men. Shawn Smith calls them the walking wounded, like the walking dead. And they jump to conclusions with women. And they're half-cocked theories. They're shooting from the hip. Basically, they're not aiming. And then dudes get burnt out with women, and they do all this stupid shit, and they get angry. And they don't produce good results for their life. They don't have good relationships with women. They don't have any relationships with women half the time. Or they marry old fat women and pretend they're young and stuff. It's fucking... That is when you believe pseudoscientific garbage and you try applying it to your life, you end up marrying old fat women and hating women and stuff. That's what happens, right? And the manosphere is filled with these beta males who believe this crap. It's this big snake eating its tail. It's sick. It's so sick, man. But it's going to get better. And it is getting better. It's been getting better since 2019 when that war went public between me and Rolo. It's going to keep getting better over time. And the truth will conquer all. Truth conquers all things and all people. No one can beat the truth. It will conquer everyone. So you either fucking go with the truth or you're going to get stumped. Mm-hmm. And rent.
I love it. No, that's great. I mean, let's just say I don't necessarily believe the black pill is the truth pill. I think the black pill, I think there's certain parts of it that I embrace. Again, we're getting caught up in pills, but I think the truth pill is maybe the newest pill. I think it's the best philosophy is really just talking about what's really true and what's really not true. That's something too, is that I think
that's feminine energy, Tony.
Yeah.
That's feminine energy.
Talking about what is not true is so important in this, under this umbrella. I think it's very important. All right, let's look at some more questions. Tony, are you going to marry up your new squeeze? You never know. You never know. And a follow-up to Anthony V's question, are we all invited to the wedding? If I get married, y'all are all invited. It'll be a big one.
It'll be blessed.
Goddamn Bacon says, I love the I love the name of that, the Goddamn Bacon. That's beautiful. Philosophy is the study of reality is what I practice. Cool. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody.
Hey, it's DDJ. Oh, he called me. I got to call him back. I was at dinner when he called me.
Oh, there he is. DDJ, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, DDJ, isn't that, does that stand for Doomsday Jesus?
It does.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Y'all guys check out Misandry today. Great channel. Check him out for sure. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. So, Primal Man says, my beard is hypergamous. I got to make garden. Nice. Nice. Human cognition is flawed because we can't fool ourselves. Did you recover from that Saturday night bender last weekend with Anthony V and his 2026 time machine? Actually, you know what's funny is I drank 5 shots throughout that stream in about 2.5 hours. So, yeah. So let's see what DDJ says. Question, why is that men call out others for unethical conduct?
Elaborates it here a little more.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, you nailed it, man. Yeah, a beef, there's a difference between a beef. Okay, a beef is, what would I call a beef?
Me banging your girlfriend.
Yeah, that's a beef. Yeah, there's a beef.
Behind your back.
Yeah, behind my back.
Or just after you got done with it.
Yeah, it depends though, but some people we know would actually probably want to watch. So, yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's a great one. I love the way you put that. People reframe it as a beef. Yeah, it's okay to call out people that are illegitimate and bullshitters.
I think it's something interesting is coming.
And again, this is the show tonight is about conflict.
Yeah.
And people are afraid of conflict. No, we just all can't get along. Sorry. No, it's not feminine energy. It's actually masculine to have conflict. It's okay.
Well, here's what's going to be interesting, Tony. This just occurred to me when you asked this question. Check this out. All these dudes in the manosphere reframing any conflict, right? Any and all conflict, basically. Let's say 95% of it is beef and drama, right? That is actually a feminine move in itself. Because what do women do, right? Do women focus on reality and facts and fixing problems? No. They focused on feelings and gossip and reputation, right? That's what all these fucking conflict avoidant beta males do, including these alleged leaders in the manosphere, right? The big channels and shit. Oh, beef, 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 drama, drama, drama. They're all full of shit. And then they say feminine energy, right? That's projection. It's simple psychological projection of their own femininity because they're fucked up, wounded beta males. Masculine men focus on issues like exposing fraud. It's not necessarily exposing the fraudster that's really the issue at play. It's that there's fraud going on. The person doing it or the number of people doing it is less important than the facts of what's occurring. And that's why these fucking losers who want to be frauds and stay concealed, they get really angry when they get exposed, and they have to misdirect it like a magician into beef and personality and, oh, that guy's a shit starter, blah, blah, blah. No. People who are men and who are masculine, conflict is fine, especially when it's about issues and not about personal things. I don't have beef with almost anyone in the manosphere. People think I hate Rolo. I don't really hate Rolo for who he is. I hate him for the things that he's done. the physical facts like of real life that he's done, like doxing 50 men in real life. I hate that. That's a disgusting, like, loser action that hurts men, to put men at risk. And for someone to do that who claims to be a helper of men and want to help them, that's a level of fraud that's disgusting, and it would be disgusting from anyone. It being George Miller, some loser dude in the middle of Nevada, it doesn't matter to me. It's anyone who did it would be a problem, because the issue is the facts of what happened, not the person. The person's good, who cares? 50 years from now, that person will be dead. They won't even matter. It's the events historically of what happened that are important to understand and to expose. Yeah.
Disagreement is necessary for self-reliant men to grow. Yeah, that's a good one. I agree. Yeah. Finn says such a bitch move. Yeah.
Colin is what women do. They personalize everything, right? And it's effeminate. They're all baby face.
Let me see if there's any more questions. Dwayne Hicks, question mark.
I think I might be hiding a few baby face women.
What yeah, the bar for your wedding? I have to ask on behalf of Anthony. There will be everything. It'll be open bar all night. Yeah. Any more questions, and we're going to wrap it up. If there's no more questions, let's wrap it up. So I want to thank our special drop-in guest, Anthony Dream Johnson, for coming in tonight. Yeah, man, awesome. This is awesome. What a great, and this is a personal special guest. So this is a good friend of mine, guys, and Anthony is a good man. He's doing a lot of great things for men and for women. And we always talk about men, but he's doing a lot of great things for women now too. I mean, he's bringing a convention for women to, bring back realistically the old school, what I grew up with, and it's okay. And guys, I'm going to tell you one thing: there's still a lot of good women out there, and vet properly and take your time, and you will find a good woman. I'll give you that. So don't lose hope. And I think that's something I need to tell guys is don't lose hope. I know there's a lot of guys who call themselves incels and MGTOWs, and it's not always the way to live, guys. There's something to be said for companionship of a good woman. There's something to be said for that. So don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Again, anybody wants to reach out to me personally, you can reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. Again, I appreciate everybody who has reached out to me for all different kinds of things over the past months. That's T21 Surfer on Twitter or Instagram. But I appreciate everybody. Let me check the chat.
And they can all buy the course, right? They can all.
Yeah. So, yeah. Only thrust at a time. Okay.
One thrust at a time.
DDJ, thanks for coming in, man. DG, Miss Andrew today, you guys check out his channel. It's a good channel. The guy's a really good speaker. He doesn't speak like me, with saying a lot of ums and I thinks. He's got some good stuff, so check him out for sure. Let me see.
Yeah, I remember DDJ.
Yeah.
I've met him in real life. He's a good dude. Me and his Socrates and a couple of my employees met him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks, DDJ. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. We'll collab sometime for sure. I'd like that. That'd be fun. He's a very knowledgeable guy. Speaks very well, and I think that takes a lot of practice and just I think it's a quality. I think it's a quality. Just a good quality in a man is being able to speak properly and get your message out with your facts. And I think that's really important. I think that's important. That's what we need in this. So, but I want to thank everybody for coming in, Mr. Finn. Who do we got here? Matt M, of course. Matt, I don't know what happened to your wrench, but you're a wrench now, and I appreciate you, man, for sure. So Anthony Velasquez, of course. Thanks to all my mods. Who else did I miss here? Vivian, of course. Oh, Emmanuel. Geez, I don't know how I missed you. Emmanuel Godson. Yeah, our brother from Ireland. Good to see you. Good to see you. Always. So, but everybody, I appreciate you. I appreciate the AMA.
That was something a little different. I will see you Thursday night on Thursday Night Reality Check with Primal Man and Gonzo and possibly Anthony Johnson right here sitting next to me. But that's Thursday night. So much love, honor, and respect. All my people, everybody's in the chat. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share. Love you guys. Appreciate all of you. And it was a good night. It was a good Sunday night. Cheers, guys. Appreciate you.